And now, here is Australian Medical Association WA President Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly COVID-19 update and commentary.
Hi, another strange week of shenanigans in COVID in Western Australia. We had, of course, the news that another guard has been infected on his job, someone who had only just had the first dose of vaccine, who was then given inadequate surgical mask PPE, sent into an inadequately ventilated quarantine situation where we know that there is airborne spread of COVID within these hotels since the Wirramanthri report. And he was then infected on the job, which has then infected his housemates and led to increased restrictions in the community. The Premier says it's inexplicable how he got it. Well, no, the answers are there in the Wirramanthri report that this is airborne spread and that hotel quarantine, as the Premier has said before, is not fit for purpose. I don't know whether the government are now saying these things in order to avoid legal liability, because they should be paying compensation to everyone involved, including those inconvenienced in the community. But there's no point appearing puzzled about how this happened. It's spreading in the air. That's quite clear around the world now. So we keep repeating the same mistakes, sending unvaccinated people into contact with COVID patients without airborne level PPE, which is not a surgical mask and a face shield. It is in fact an N95 fit tested mask, some sort of goggles, and then a plastic covering suit, and they need the appropriate training to go along with it. We should also not be using private security guard contractors anymore. We should be using quarantine professionals. And of course, we should be transitioning to air-gapped cabin-style facilities, shipping containers or dongers or some other area where there is not air being shared between rooms in any way, shape or form. This is, of course, a 30-person problem at the moment. There's only 30 people positive in our hotel system of 2,100, and that's brought the system to its knees. What if we had 200 or 300 or 1,000 positive, which a quarantine system should be able to cope with? It should be able to cope with everyone being positive, get them through their 2 weeks and send them home without infecting anyone. But we're so short of that benchmark. 1 in 200 infected people are leaking into the community in Australia at the moment, that it just shows the system is neither designed nor run properly. Victoria's better with their hotel quarantine now. They've made changes to ventilation and procedures. Everyone's in N95 masks and so on. So they'll have a lot less than that 1 in 200 rate. So nothing puzzling, nothing difficult to understand, nothing even that difficult to remedy. We should be moving the 30 positive people out of the hotels, put them in dongers out on airport land, something like that. Tell me why it can't work. In Dunkirk, they evacuated 338,000 Allied soldiers and others off a beach in 8 days. And that was, 80 years ago. So I think we owe it to our community to be doing a lot better than this, and we can do a lot better than this. The people we really owe it to, of course, are those who are stranded overseas, and my heart goes out to Indian Australians who are currently seeing what it looks like to live in a country that abandons you in your hour of need, you or your family members. Whilst I can understand the need to restrict incoming flights from COVID-affected countries at the moment, I don't understand why we're singling out necessarily India. We could just say that we can only cope with a certain amount of traffic right now. But if our quarantine system had any sort of capability, we shouldn't have to specify particular individual countries. And secondly, the idea that people would be fined if they'd come back via some other destination out of desperation is, to me, a step too far, and there should be an apology and a retraction of that system. Thanks for your time.
And here's Leo with what's coming up on 6 News.
Thanks guys, tonight on 6 News, Peter Gutman returned to power with Tassie voters securing a third term for the Liberals. We'll explain how the Premier's decision to call the election early may have been vital in his re-election. Plus, India reaches breaking point with over 300,000 COVID cases being recorded every day, but experts say it could be much higher than that as oxygen tanks are given police escorts in the streets. Special analysis from our very own Holly Shields after Brittany Higgins met the PM earlier this week, describing her conversation as robust and adding that it was hard, it was difficult, and it wasn't easy. And Joe Biden marks 100 days in office since taking power on January 20th. Our US correspondent will take a look at some of the challenges ahead for the 46th president following his address to Congress earlier this week. You can see full details on those stories and plenty more on our YouTube channel. Just search 6 News Australia to find us, and at our website 6newsau.com. For now though guys, it's back to you.
Thanks, Leo. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. You can follow the latest on our website, wamnews.com.au.
Sarah will be back next week. Until then, from Kit and myself, wish you good health, good night, and see you next Sunday.
Have a good night.